Hello, everyone. You're all very welcome to Underground Cinema. As you know, we're interviewing as many filmmakers, actors, directors, writers, anybody that has been nominated for an award at the 15th Underground Cinema Awards, which are just weeks away. On the 16th of November, we will be announcing the full list of winners for this year's awards. I'm delighted to say I've got a lot of guys here with me today. I've got Denis McArdle, I've got David Butler, I've got Eliza Butler. They've all been working on a fantastic short film called The Light Within, an Irish Quaker Story. You're very welcome, guys.
Thanks a million, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Not at all. You're very welcome. You're very welcome, everybody. Denis, can I just start with you because I can remember. Do you know what? It was 2013 when I first saw your work down in Galway. It was Barry's Bespoke Bakery. You won the best screenplay as well in the Fastnet Film Festival that year as well. What a fantastic short film! I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was a lovely little film. That was funded by Screen Ireland, or the Irish Film Board as it was at the time. It was a comedy. Yeah, that was sort of an odd couple comedy set in one location. It was supposed to be easy, but as always, there were crucifixion. But it was a kind of a stab for me as well. It's sort of comedy, kind of broad comedy, and I think to a certain degree we pulled it off. It's interesting to note that our actor Steve Gunn, who plays Eliza's father, was the messy baker in Barry's Bakery. Right. So I'd worked with him before. It had been 10, 11 years since we'd worked together, Yeah.
Yeah, Steve, he's a fantastic actor, and he's a previous Underground Cinema Award winner as well with us. So he's a great actor, great musician, and an all-around great guy. So so you took him back on board for this very ambitious project, The Light Within. Could you maybe tell us just a little bit about The Light Within? What's it all about, Dennis?
Well, The Light Within is actually based on a short story that I read by a friend of mine, an unpublished short story that I thought would make a great piece of filming in my naivety. And I fashioned a very different script from that idea, but I had an interest in Quaker culture, and years back I worked for RTE for Nationwide, and we did a research gig on Quakers in Kildare, South Kildare at that point. I was never on the shoot, but I remember doing a lot of the behind the scenes work. And it always sort of stayed with me as a kind of a hidden culture we don't know much about. These were essentially planters who came here in the sort of early mid-16th century with a very definite religious ethos of simplicity, had no interest in being the ruling class, did a huge amount of relief and good for others, and were met with a lot of suspicion at the beginning, and integrated themselves into the Midlands. They were very prevalent in the Midlands. They were a merchant class. They ran a lot of the mills. So that was the kind of where the idea, I thought it would be interesting scope for that ethos of showing something which really hadn't been seen before in Irish cinema, hadn't been seen in any dramatized way, which was to show a little bit of their culture and their religiosity and their I suppose their ethos, their ethics and their ethos, and then to kind of use that and try and find some conflict within it. So that's where I wanted to do a period drama as well, which I had for a long time. I wanted to create a period drama, and I wanted it to be quite broad and not contained, like use a landscape. So that's where the idea came from initially. Yeah.
And this is a supernatural piece. Delves into Irish folklore, Dennis. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've been interested in Irish folklore because I'd studied it. So a lot of the writing I'd done in the past had a sort of folkloric bent to it, or a flow, an influence in there somewhere, or an introduction, or some aspect or element in the script. There was always something going on in I don't even mean folk horror now, but just something to do with with Irish folklore and either calendar customs or how we would have represented ourselves, in tandem with the official Catholic Church. So that was always in there. So I wanted to bring that into it, I suppose, and that was the obvious thing was, to meet an Indigenous couple, and to set those two ideas in opposition. Yeah.
So, David, the film was set in the 1780s, and that comes with its unique challenges. How did you manage to pull off the production? Because it's a period piece.
Yeah, no, thanks a million. It was very ambitious, and it was a big undertaking. I suppose, look, the first part of it was I just loved the idea and I just absolutely latched onto it. And I suppose just from reading it from Denis's script, a lot of it was kind of there and just figuring out. So the film was funded by Creative Ireland Laois from a short film bursary in Laois. So we had to film it in Laois. So that not caused another challenge, but it kind of narrowed the window for us. But I suppose we just looked around Laois, we looked around the Quaker towns in Laois. So the town and village of Rosenallis in Laois quickly became the place for this. So a graveyard that features in the film is actually a Quaker's graveyard in Rosenallis. And then once we kind of found that, we started looking around the locales and stuff. And we found this fantastic Wesleyan church that had this old aesthetic to it, that we were able to dress it up and match it up and kind of get it to look that we wanted. But for a short film, the locations are fairly ambitious. I always kind of say it's kind of a feature film locations in a short film, so that caused, just from a film point of view and a producer point of view, just moving everyone around and all that sort of stuff. But finding the key locations was absolutely what brought it all together. And another place was Roundwood House, which was in Mount Rat. Is in Mount Rat, but that was we filmed the bedroom scenes in there. And this lovely old kind of Georgian building, and right next to it has this old Quaker. It's actually used as a shed now, but it was an old Quaker mill. And we were just blessed as soon as we found it. And all those chickens that are in the film, that's their yard. That's where they're from. So it was all just there, And another key place was the Dunamore Family Museum, where we filmed the kitchen scene as well. So that was, again, we just utilized what we could in the area and just brought it all to life then,
Yeah, you've the production values are very good. Obviously, when you're watching it, it really is very high. I mean, your short film, Denis, like it's as shorts go, it's 23 minutes 56, say 24 minutes. But
yeah, don't remind me. I know.
Was that a concern? Was that a concern for you, Denis? Because what I was just about to say is 24 minutes is a little on the long side for a short, but this particular one, it didn't feel like 24 minutes, which is a really good sign. It didn't feel like 24 minutes. Was it a concern? Was it a concern for you that it might have been a tad on the long side?
Well, no, not really. I mean, it was never intended necessarily to be that long. I mean, it was a 10-page script. So, but that old thing of, 1 page per minute is a bit of a nonsense. I always find, usually 2 minutes per screen time for 1 minute of dialogue, 1 minute on a page. So it was going to be probably coming up. But also, if you think about, we were trying to hold the stillness of this ethos. Yeah. So that meeting house scene is strategically long. It was written that way. It was performed that way. It was directed that way with the extras. So we were filming them for a long time. holding faces, and much longer than you would on a, you know, in a contemporary piece. And there was a certain sort of pace with this film, with the horse and cart and everything, and just with the allowing of the thing to settle. I mean, it is an art house film, but it wasn't necessarily that I intended to try and make it a half an hour, because in fact there are 3 scenes in it that are not in it, that were excised. So before we even got to shoot them, so it might have even been longer. But yeah, I mean, it was a minor concern that, okay, like this might be a tough sell in terms of festivals or whatever, but you've got to make the film that you want to make. And remember, the film that you make has to go live in your soul a lot longer after all the film festivals are long over. So you've got to make the film that you want to make, you know. And
exactly.
So you know, it has to be. No, I mean, yes, it's long. I mean, I suppose it's long, but I don't think it feels long actually. Like when I watch it, and if you watch a good film, like the time duration really won't really be an issue if you're engaged with it.
Yeah, as I said, I didn't even notice the time go by. But here's a very interesting fact for you, Dennis. So for everybody, so when we first started Underground Cinema 15 years ago, the running time, the average running time for a short film, the magic number was always around 10 to 15 minutes. Anything over that is going on the long side. Now, 15 years later, we were looking at all the shorts that were submitted to the film festival in Dunleary in September, and we had an increase of 20% in films that were over 20 minutes long this year.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, a film really should be the length it's supposed to be. I mean, so Barry's Bakery was 8.5 minutes, and it shouldn't have been 9 or 9.5. It was Barry's Bakery was meant to be that length. And it was, you know, so it was a 6-page script that became 8.5 minutes. But that's all it needed to be. Do you know what I mean? And if you're, so like whatever the length is, I mean, I support whatever the storytelling is. If there's room to make it 35 minutes, it might not make that anyway commercial. But, you know, once again, you know, you have to make the film that you intend to make. And then be damned, because remember, like the thing about designing a film for a festival is that, you know, the festivals are supposed to support the artists, not the other way around. You know, I mean, I know you do, so I'm not saying you don't, but you know what I'm saying. You know that.
I suppose. I suppose, Dave, the key thing to this was we're trying to create a different world. You know what I mean? We're trying to bring this to the 1780s. And the idea was you watch this film and you're transported to a different world. So that was from a producer and director. That was the key, you know what I mean? And so like part of the meeting house scene, which is the kind of Quakers kind of, it's not a church, but it's this kind of where they meet up. But what they actually do is they actually sit in silence until they feel compelled to say something. So we actually have it in Dennis's script was there. So it's actually the title of the film, The Light Within. So the Quakers get this surge within them to speak up and say their world, but say their bit. But that was the whole crook of it, you know what I mean? And yeah, again, like it wasn't this MTV style cutting, fancy cutting, like there was none of that. It was completely the opposite of that, just to bring it back to the birds and natures and kind of folklore elements. And like there's a lot of it you just can't, if you do it too quick, you just don't get it, you don't understand it. You know what I mean? So there's all of that to let it breathe there, you know. And
look, I'm in total agreement, to be honest with you. I mean, if you look at our track record over the years, if a film is a tad and alongside, and if the film is engaging, if we feel it is going to, you know, our audience are going to enjoy it, it's a must. We have to screen it and we have to make time for it, you know. So if it means juggling another program around, then so be it. The most important thing for us is good storyline, good production values. And at the end of the day, the audience is going to be entertained. And I was certainly entertained with this one. You talked about the exteriors, which are fantastic and they're very believable, but your interior shots, and I'm going to talk about the production design and the costume design for this shoot are excellent. Now I know Eamonn is a set designer. He's fantastic.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
been nominated. He's been nominated for production design for this. And Shiela is also, and I know Shiela a long time as well. She has been nominated for best costume design. It looks like the guys put an awful lot of research into the film, and they did an incredible job. Hence the nods for both categories. You must be very happy with the way it looks. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a testament to all those people's work, and and Dave, because actually Dave found that courtyard. But I mean, yeah, it's a testament to like Shiela and the whole all the costume department. You know, Aoife Tracy was the wardrobe mistress as well, but Shiela, they did a marvelous work on the costumes. I'm sure Eliza will tell you about that. And you know, I mean, Eamonn did we made it look very good. We made it as authentic as we could with the dreadful amount of money we had. You know?
Yeah, so the key part to all location stuff was we found the locations, and then was to make that space work with using what we had, which wasn't a whole lot, by the way. And again, kind of the era and the 1780s, so we had to strip a lot of stuff out. You know what I mean? I remember lifting this massive carpet in the bedroom because we wanted the wooden floors underneath, and the carpet just wouldn't work. But this thing was weighing a ton. It's like 4 people had to roll it up and move it out. And then at the end of the shoot, we did bring it all back and reset it before the next morning, you know. But yeah, look, the costumes and stuff, and Shiela was absolutely amazing. So one of the key things that Shiela did was the old woman, the Kylock. She did, that was her creation. Like, she literally created that. And I was getting these pictures of shirts and stuff soaking in tea bags, and I was like, what are they? Just you know Shiela from the cosplay and stuff, and just the skill that they have, and just bringing everything. I just like, it's unbelievable. But these were real working, movable, like weathered. We filmed out in the open in cold weather. Actually, pretty much around this time of year. It was like the week after Halloween, you know. So we're literally right on the anniversary as well, and standing in the field up to lashing rain, our marquees and stuff getting blown around, and all of this trying to manage a horse and cart, and
poor Eliza barefoot, you know.
Poor Eliza, but a little trooper there, actually doing amazing stuff for us and going well beyond the Call of Duty there, just to make it authentic and stuff as well. But yeah, look, there's all the Quaker element and all the folklore, but I always kind of felt that there's something powerful behind it, making it all work, that all those little strands and all those people and all those, everyone to put the time and effort, and by the way, I don't mind saying this, but like, we had no money to pay our crew for this. Like, that's how tight the budget was, and the guys did absolutely amazing work, all because they believed in the project and to believe in the team behind it. And like, that to me is proper filmmaking. And the whole thing is like, it takes a village to raise a child, and it definitely took a village to make this film, you know.
Well, do you know what? Some of the scenes was actually like looking at a painting. They were lit so well. Seeing with the candle with Steve at the table is lit so well, and Eliza, it must have been fantastic, as you know, as an actress, to be immersed into a film with production values that are so high. The costumes look great, the sets are great. You got Denis, who's been around a long time, if you don't mind me saying so, Denis. But
no, I don't mind. No.
He knows exactly what he's doing. How did you enjoy the whole production?
Yeah, it was really amazing. It was my first time working on a film set. So, like, it was great to see how all the camera works. And, like, our crew, they were just all so amazing. Like, Shiela and Aoife, like our costume, they were just like they were so good. And Dawn, the makeup artist, like you can see in the film, all the makeup for everyone is just really, really good. And it was amazing to work with Dennis and David as well.
Yeah, because look, your character causes all the drama in the film. That's what your character is. And you did a great job, listen, Eliza. And you've also been nominated for Best Supporting Actress, which is absolutely fantastic. And this is unbelievable for your first time in a film role. You must be delighted with that.
Yeah, I was really happy when I found out that like we put in so much work to this, and like you can see it on screen, and like it's just amazing like to see like the rewards that come from it.
Brilliant. So what? So have you got any sort of acting background? Have you theatre background? Have you done anything before?
Yeah, when I was younger, I kind of always been into musical theater. I always loved doing musicals, and I do some voice acting as well. So yeah, when I'm growing up, I've always done that. Me and my sisters, we always love to do that.
Yeah. You know what? When you're involved with theatre, my background is theatre as well, and I believe if you do theatre, it really stands to you when you start doing film because a theatrical actor can pull so much out of the bag. You know what it's like if you've rehearsed shows and stuff like that. You put an awful lot of time into. You might work. You might be workshopping scenes. You talk a lot to other actors. You do the very best you can, and there's a lot of that in theatre. And if you're a theatre actor, you can bring that to the screen. You were very convincing. I mean, Finnuala was great. She must have been. You both of you bounced off each other really well. You really were like sisters.
Yeah, she was amazing. Like ever since I met her, I feel like we all just connected. So it was amazing to get to work alongside her.
Yeah, and I think we'll
And
mention
can
as
I
well.
just echo that it was they were a dream. They were a dream to work with, the pair of them. And Eliza's correct; they had a great connection. We spent a long time in the casting process, but it was a real pleasure, working with Eliza. I'd work with her again in a heartbeat. She's a total
Yeah.
trooper. She's a very, very professional actor. My take on this that Eliza could be the next Saoirse Ronan if she wants it. So,
I just want to jump in there, Dave. Just a little note there. So the Eliza's character, Margaret, was actually a much older character on script and on the page, and Eliza came across, and there was something just magical there. Now, everyone was in the room kind of spotted something in Eliza. And she really was the key. Like she beat much older actresses to the role, and it would have been much easier for us from a production point of view to have someone 18 or over and all that stuff. But we just had to have her on this. She just shone out, and same with Finnuala. Finnuala was absolutely amazing and great connection, and it was amazing. Our crew as well had worked together, so they've done a few projects together, most of us anyway, and there's a real gelling together with guys, and to be honest, like, we became a real strong family over the few days. And I remember Eliza's final scene, by the way, was that, or I don't want to give away too much, but there's a fairly dramatic scene that happens, and when that was over, like, the cast and crew had to say goodbye to Eliza. And I was really like handing her back. It was like, we're such a great connection to us, but she was just amazing. And Finnuala as well, just amazing, and wish them the best of luck in their future careers as well. We hope this shines a light to both of them and they go on to bigger and better things,
There's a great sense of camaraderie here, to be honest, which is fantastic, and that's when you surround yourself with good people, Dennis. You're going to get that's the keys to it could be a small team, but surround yourself with really good people. The end result is going to be superb.
Yeah, no, we had a great crew. I mean, a bit of a shout out to Dave Lynch, our cameraman.
Oh, absolutely.
And the team. I mean, he had a whole, like, all of the camera nerds. They were all there, and it was all there to support, the performances, really, because that's what this is. And even, Eliza's parents, Tom and Vogue, were very involved, very supportive. Tom was there as Eliza's chaperone for every scene, and he was also our driver, which because we were low on cars, so all those little things all help,
Yeah, look, all these things, people just chipped in and went the extra mile, literally went the extra mile for us, and it's amazing just to bring it all together, and just from myself, and just having the opportunity to tell this story. Delighted that Dennis chose me to bring it to fruition, so it's just brilliant having the team work on this.
Yeah, it's not an easy job, David, as producer of a film, because you've got many hats on. There's an awful lot to do. It can be quite stressful sometimes. It definitely sounds like that you enjoy the job. Well, I was talking to a few filmmakers for the past couple of days about the importance of community, and also the importance of local county council getting involved in production and supporting productions. It's very important. I was involved a long time ago, about 8 or 9 years ago, with Kildare County Council, with Lucina Russell, who was the arts officer down there, and they started off Shortgrass Films, and they have a bursary every year. The idea is that if you submit your work to them, it'll be judged by a panel, and then the film will get a grant, and the deal is the film is either all or partly to be shot in Kildare, and more county councils are now doing this. We have it done with Dunleary, Rathdown County Council, Wicklow County Council are now doing it. The importance of that can't be overstated, can it?
Absolutely. Look, there's lots of creative people, and you know yourself, Dave, from all your submissions, the amount of talent around the country and people doing stuff. And it's thanks to likes yourself as well that the end results get shown, and the likes of this podcast just get out to a wider audience for people to hopefully look at the films and check them out. But no, there really is a great community, and it's really important to keep that going. And the more the merrier, by the way. Like, the more county councils and Creative Ireland bursaries that can be created for this is ideal. And there's opportunities given to people like the likes of Eliza there to get a chance to star in films that they just wouldn't have. You know what I mean?
Eliza has a fantastic piece of showreel there, if nothing else. Just an amazing piece of showreel, for the future.
There's absolutely.
There's a massive gap as well, Dave, from student filmmakers and stuff that when they finish college and they don't know the next stage and the next gap. But these county council bursaries and stuff are absolutely ideal and key to make that little first bridge to come through, and
they're crucial. Yeah,
absolutely,
they're crucial. And we again, if you look as you watch some of these interviews that are going to be played over the next 3 weeks, we're running right the way up to the day before the awards with these interviews. But there is a lot of talk during some of the interviews about what you'll hear is the green wave. So independent cinema in Ireland is absolutely booming, which is fantastic. To turn a negative into a positive, the COVID situation was difficult for some, but for others, it was actually quite a creative time. And what we're seeing now is a lot of scripts that were written during COVID that weren't raced or pushed too fast. That can happen when you're trying to get a film ready for a film festival. You can go a little bit too fast. But what I'm delighted to see now at the moment is the amount of independent Irish feature films that are now going into mainstream cinema. So you remember 30 years ago, 20 years ago, Dennis, you'd never really see an independent Irish film, a low budget independent Irish film in a mainstream cinema. It just did not happen. But it's now I can count about 7 or 8 indie Irish features that have been in cinemas not for 1 or 2 week runs, 6 week runs over the past 2 years. That must be really encouraging. What do you think, Dennis? Is it a good time to be an indie?
Well, it's in many ways yes, in many ways no. It's never a good time in one way, and it's the best time, and you've got to make the best of it, because no matter what generation you're born into, you're always going to face challenges. Things are very different from when I was young and beautiful, I can tell you. Technology has just made it so much easier, but there's just an awful lot of content out there as well that and that there's a certain amount of competition in that. But I mean, overall, yeah, I mean, it's a positive thing. If it gives people like Eliza an opportunity, to get out there and show their talent and show their work, it can only be positive. Yeah.
Excellent. So, Eliza, are you bitten by the bug now? Are you ready for your next film?
Yeah, we've gotten loads of auditions in soon, but I know how hard it is, to get parts. So I was so excited when I found out that I got this part. I could still remember the day, because no one really realizes how much auditions you do before you actually get one. So it was amazing that they chose me for it. I was so honored to be part of this.
Well, I think, your performance in this and the fact that you've been nominated for an award as well is really going to stand to you. Dennis has just mentioned there that you got a really good show reel. And if you can keep adding to that show reel, I mean, you're quite young. How old are you, Eliza, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 14.
14, you got the whole world ahead of you. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of you in the very near future. Keep an eye on social media pages, like film pages like Film Network Ireland. There's a lot of auditions are mentioned there. I'm sure David will, and if I certainly hear anything, I'll let you know through Dennis or through David. And I think you've got a great future in it. Dennis has gone to IADT, yeah? You studied in Dunleary.
Yeah. Way back when we were shooting on 16 millimeter with the Steenbeck.
Yeah, so did I, Dave, as well. Back in
Were you in Dunleary as well?
Dunleary, yeah, I studied animation for my sins. Yeah,
fantastic.
It's very different than it is now. Anyway, it was far more rudimentary. Yeah,
it really is. Look at the IADT was an old industrial school years ago. Would you believe it? My grandfather taught leatherwork in that particular school. My mother lived on the site because her father worked in the school, and I'm from Dunleary as well, and that's why we do be very, very proud of hosting the awards in Dunleary, because it is the home of the National Film School, and the work that has come out of IADT over the past 20 years or whatever has just been phenomenal. So when I get a submission that comes in and I see IADT on it, I know it's got to be top notch. It's produced some fantastic filmmakers over them, including yourself and David, over the past couple of years. And all you need to do
is I started to cut across you. So Kieran Walsh and Paul Dwan, they were in my class.
Wow. So
we were all classmates, and we're talking like late 80s, early 90s, So, and they've gone on to do, much bigger work, for example.
Yeah, so I had Enda Lokman in my class. He's in a collective called Daddy. And Micah Hearn was the other guy. He was in graphic design. So two of them were in my year. And the lads are doing the Sky TV series at the minute with Chris O'Dowd, and they made that fantastic film, the Banshee one. Sorry, not the Banshee. Extraordinary film there a couple of years ago. It was incredible. Yeah, so look, there's loads of talented people, loads of amazing people, and thanks very much to yourself, Dave, and the likes of you for giving us a chance to bring us a bigger.
Yeah, thanks for choosing the film for the screening, and obviously thanks to whoever nominated our 5 nominees, and I hope they all win.
We forgot, Dennis, there to mention Michael Fleming.
Oh yeah,
Michael was our composer as well, so he did an absolutely amazing job.
Yeah.
He had a very tight brief. Dennis, you want to briefly mention your?
Oh God, it was. I would say I won't say too much. No, he did. Michael did an amazing job. That score complements that aesthetic perfectly. So he kind of got the script. It was Dave who put me on to Dave Fleming or to Michael Fleming. So yeah, it was great. So look, fingers crossed that all 5 of them, come home with
the gold. Well, let me before we finish up, guys. Let me just tell you about the panel, and let me just explain it to you a little bit before we wrap it up. There isn't a single person on that panel that knows who Denis is, who Eliza is, or David is, or knows anybody because they're international.
That's good.
Our panel
Good.
are international. When we first started Underground Cinema, it was an Irish panel. It's very you get to know people very quickly in Ireland, and all of a sudden it was becoming very difficult to vote to not be biased. So we made a decision a good number of years back, about 8 or 9 years back, that the Irish panel were to be disbanded. We'd already worked with international filmmakers. They'd been submitting their work to us for years. So we had contacted a lot of the winners of the award, the International Film Award, to ask them would they be interested in going on the panel. So we have panel members, would you believe, in Vietnam, China, America, Germany, France. They're from everywhere. They're just not from Ireland. And I think to be endorsed by an international panel, I think it's superb and well done.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to know. Yeah, it shows that it has legs. Yeah.
It's very encouraging, Dave. Thanks very much for listening.
Thanks very much, Dave. Yeah.
So look, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. I love chatting to everybody. I think this is a fantastic film. I wish it all the best in the world on its film festival run. And I'm dying to see what's next. Will it be a feature, Denis?
Could be, Dave. Could be.
Which Dave you talking to directly there, Dennis?
Possibly both of you, but yeah, could be. You never know. Yeah.
I suppose it definitely has that feel, Dave, and a few people have said it to us, and look, we definitely keep it in mind and see what happens. And then Dennis has a numerous projects up his sleeve. He never ceases to amaze me. Every couple of months he sends me something else, and I'm just like, where did this come from, you know? So listen, we got shortlisted for a few big things and didn't quite happen, and we got a few other things, so hopefully lead on to other projects in the future, you know? I've no doubt it will.
Fantastic. And Eliza, I'm looking forward to seeing you in loads of stuff over the coming years. I'll be able to look back at this and say, I interviewed her before she hit the big time. I got her first in an interview.
Well, I hope so.
Well done. Okay, guys, thanks a million. Take care now.
Okay, no worries. Thanks. Good to see you, Eliza. All the best, guys. Thanks so much. Bye. Bye.